If you're over 60, what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you look at your dinner plate tonight. After decades of being told that vegetables are always the answer to better health, the truth is far more complex and potentially dangerous than anyone wants to admit. As a heart specialist, I've witnessed too many seniors walk into my clinic believing they're doing everything right, eating their greens, avoiding junk food, taking their medications religiously, only to discover that some of the very vegetables they trust most could be quietly sabotaging their heart health. The statistics are alarming. Every year, thousands of seniors suffer heart complications, not from the obvious culprits like fast food or smoking, but from seemingly innocent vegetables that interact dangerously with their medications, spike their blood pressure, or carry hidden risks their aging bodies can no longer handle. The most heartbreaking part? Most of these health crises could be prevented if people simply knew which vegetables to avoid and how to prepare the ones they keep. What makes this even more urgent is that your body at 60 is fundamentally different from your body at 40. Your kidneys don't filter toxins as efficiently, your immune system can't fight off bacteria like it used to, and your heart medications, those life-saving drugs that prevent strokes and heart attacks, can be rendered completely useless by the wrong vegetable consumed at the wrong time. The margin for error gets smaller with each passing year, and the consequences grow more severe. This isn't about fear-mongering or telling you to avoid all vegetables. It's about giving you the knowledge that could save your life. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the 5 vegetables that pose the greatest risk to seniors, understand exactly why they're dangerous, and learn the simple modifications that can make all the difference. By the end of this article, you'll have the tools to protect your heart while still enjoying delicious, nutritious meals. Chapter 1. When your heart medicine becomes powerless. The spinach trap. Spinach has long held the crown as the ultimate superfood, packed with nutrients and praised by health experts worldwide. For most of your life, adding spinach to your diet was probably one of the best decisions you could make. But here's what changes everything after 60. If you're taking blood-thinning medications, and millions of seniors are, spinach could be quietly undermining the very treatment that's keeping you alive. The culprit is vitamin K, a nutrient that spinach contains in abundance. Under normal circumstances, vitamin K is essential for proper blood clotting and bone health. However, when you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, Coumadin, or similar medications commonly prescribed after heart attacks, strokes, or for conditions like atrial fibrillation, vitamin K becomes your enemy. These medications work by blocking vitamin K's clotting action, keeping your blood thin enough to prevent dangerous clots from forming in your arteries or heart. The problem occurs when seniors, eager to eat healthily, suddenly increase their spinach intake through daily salads, green smoothies, or spinach-heavy meals. Each serving of spinach floods their system with vitamin K, which directly counteracts their blood-thinning medication. The drug that was carefully calibrated to keep their blood at the perfect consistency becomes ineffective, and their blood begins to thicken again. Meanwhile, they feel perfectly fine and have no idea their protection against potentially fatal blood clots is disappearing. I've treated patients who suffered devastating strokes or developed dangerous clots in their legs or lungs, all because they started a healthy routine of spinach smoothies without realizing the deadly interaction. One particularly heartbreaking case involved a 68-year-old woman who had been stable on warfarin for 3 years after a minor heart attack. Inspired by her daughter's health journey, she began drinking a large spinach smoothie every morning. Within 6 weeks, she suffered a massive stroke that left her partially paralyzed. Her blood work showed that her carefully managed INR levels, the measure of how well blood thinners are working, had dropped to dangerous levels. The tragedy is that this was completely preventable. If you're on blood-thinning medications and want to include spinach in your diet, the key is consistency and communication. Eat roughly the same amount of spinach each week so your doctor can adjust your medication accordingly. Never suddenly increase or decrease your intake without medical supervision. A few leaves in a sandwich or a small side salad occasionally is vastly different from daily large servings. Your doctor needs to know about every dietary change because your medication dosage depends on it. Chapter 2. The salty trap that's tightening around your heart, pickled cucumbers. They seem so innocent, those crisp, tangy pickles that add the perfect crunch to your sandwich or complement your meal. Most people think of pickles as basically water and vegetables, harmless and even refreshing. But for seniors, especially those with high blood pressure or heart conditions, these seemingly innocent snacks are loaded with a silent killer, sodium. The average serving of pickles contains between 800 to 200 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly 2/3 of the entire daily sodium limit recommended for older adults, packed into just a few small cucumber slices. To put this in perspective, that's more sodium than you'd find in a large order of fast food French fries. The reason pickles are so dangerously high in sodium is the brining process that preserves them, which requires enormous amounts of salt to prevent spoilage and create that characteristic tangy flavor. For seniors, sodium isn't just about taste. It's a chemical that fundamentally changes how your cardiovascular system functions. When you consume high amounts of sodium, your body retains extra water to dilute it, which increases your blood volume. This forces your heart to work harder to pump the additional fluid through your arteries, causing your blood pressure to spike. Over time, this extra pressure damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels, makes your arteries stiff and narrow, and puts enormous strain on your heart muscle. What makes this particularly dangerous for people over 60 is that their kidneys become less efficient at filtering out excess sodium, and their blood vessels lose elasticity with age. A younger person might be able to handle occasional high sodium foods without lasting damage, but for seniors, even moderate amounts of excess salt can trigger a cascade of cardiovascular problems. I've seen patients whose blood pressure remained stubbornly high despite taking multiple medications, exercising regularly, and eating what they thought was a healthy diet. When we carefully reviewed their eating habits, we often discovered that small amounts of high-sodium foods, pickles, canned soups, deli meats, or processed vegetables were sabotaging all their other efforts. The insidious nature of sodium damage is that it rarely announces itself with immediate symptoms. You don't feel your blood pressure rising after eating pickles. You don't notice your arteries stiffening or your heart working harder. The damage accumulates silently over months and years until it manifests as a stroke, heart attack, or congestive heart failure. By then, the harm is often irreversible. If you love the crunch and flavor that pickles provide, there are heart-friendly alternatives. Look for low-sodium or no-salt added varieties, though these can be harder to find and may not taste the same. Better yet, try making your own quick pickles using vinegar, herbs, and minimal salt, or satisfy that craving for crunch with fresh cucumber slices seasoned with herbs, lemon juice, or a tiny sprinkle of salt. Your taste buds will adjust and your heart will thank you. Chapter 3. The fiery ingredient that's fueling your heart's downfall: red chili peppers. Food is deeply personal, especially for seniors who have decades of memories tied to family recipes, cultural traditions, and comfort meals. For many, a dash of red chili pepper or a spicy dish isn't just about flavor, it's about heritage, warmth, and the joy of a meal that brings back cherished memories. But what many don't realize is that those fiery little peppers, especially the hot varieties, can trigger a dangerous chain reaction in an aging cardiovascular system. Red chili peppers contain compounds called capsaicinoids, which create the burning sensation we associate with spicy food. While these compounds have some health benefits in moderation, they also stimulate your sympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for the fight or flight response. When you eat spicy food, your body releases stress hormones like adrenaline, your heart rate increases, your blood vessels constrict, and your blood pressure rises. For a healthy 30-year-old, this temporary stimulation might actually be beneficial and quickly return to normal. But for someone over 60, especially with existing heart conditions, this reaction can be genuinely dangerous. As we age, our arteries naturally become less flexible and more sensitive to changes in blood pressure. Our hearts may already be working harder due to years of wear, underlying conditions, or medications. When you add the stress of spicy food on top of an already vulnerable system, you're essentially asking your aging heart to handle an unnecessary emergency situation. I've treated numerous patients who arrived at the emergency room with chest pain, heart palpitations, or dangerous spikes in blood pressure, all triggered by a spicy meal they thought was harmless. One case that particularly stands out involved a 72-year-old man who had been managing his heart condition well for years with medication and lifestyle changes. During a family celebration, he enjoyed several servings of his favorite spicy chili, something he'd done countless times before. Within hours, he developed severe chest tightness and an irregular heartbeat that required immediate medical intervention. His heart, already vulnerable due to previous damage, simply couldn't handle the additional stress that the peppers placed on his system. The problem isn't just the immediate reaction. Regular consumption of very spicy foods can contribute to chronic inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. This ongoing inflammation gradually damages the lining of your blood vessels, making them more prone to developing plaques and clots. It's like subjecting your heart and arteries to repeated minor stress tests, wearing them down over time until they can no longer cope with even normal activities. This doesn't mean you have to eat bland food for the rest of your life. There are countless ways to add flavor and excitement to your meals without relying on intense heat. Herbs like rosemary, thyme, and oregano provide complex flavors. Garlic and ginger, in moderation, offer warmth without the cardiovascular stress. Citrus juices, vinegars, and mild spices can create delicious, satisfying meals that love your heart back instead of challenging it. Chapter 4. When natural medicine turns against your heart, the raw garlic paradox. Garlic holds an almost sacred place in natural medicine, revered for centuries as a powerful healing food that can lower cholesterol, thin the blood, and support overall heart health. Many seniors turn to garlic as a natural alternative or supplement to their prescribed medications, often consuming raw cloves daily or adding large amounts to their meals. The irony is heartbreaking. This beloved natural remedy, when used incorrectly, can become one of the most dangerous foods in a senior's diet. The active compounds in garlic, particularly allicin, do indeed have blood-thinning properties. In moderate amounts, cooked garlic can be part of a heart-healthy diet. But raw garlic is extraordinarily potent, and when consumed in large quantities, as many health-conscious seniors do, it can act as a powerful anticoagulant. For someone already taking prescribed blood thinners like warfarin, aspirin, clopidogrel, or other cardiac medications, adding significant amounts of raw garlic creates a dangerous amplification effect that can make their blood dangerously thin. The consequences of overly thin blood are severe and can be life-threatening. I've seen patients develop internal bleeding that was nearly impossible to stop, experience prolonged bleeding from minor cuts, develop dangerous bruising from the slightest contact, or suffer from nosebleeds that required emergency medical intervention. In the most serious cases, patients have experienced brain hemorrhages or internal bleeding in their digestive systems, all because they were trying to be healthy with natural garlic supplements. What makes this situation particularly tragic is that these patients often feel they're making the best possible choices for their health. They're avoiding processed foods, reducing their dependence on pharmaceuticals, and turning to time-tested natural remedies that their grandparents swore by. They have no idea that their well-intentioned efforts are creating a medical emergency waiting to happen. Raw garlic can also cause sudden drops in blood pressure, which might sound like a good thing for someone with hypertension, but can actually be extremely dangerous. When blood pressure drops too quickly or too low, the heart and brain don't receive adequate blood flow. This can cause dizziness, fainting, falls, which are already a major concern for seniors, or in severe cases can trigger a heart attack or stroke due to inadequate circulation. A 69-year-old patient of mine had been taking his blood pressure medication faithfully for 5 years with excellent results. Inspired by an article about natural healing, he began eating 2 raw garlic cloves every morning. Within 3 weeks, he was experiencing dizzy spells, fatigue, and weakness. When he came in for evaluation, his blood pressure had dropped to dangerously low levels, and his blood work showed his clotting time had become dangerously prolonged. We had to carefully adjust his medications and eliminate the raw garlic to restore his safe therapeutic levels. If you love garlic and want to include it in your diet, the solution is simple. Cook it and use it in moderation. Cooking reduces garlic's potency while preserving much of its flavor and many of its health benefits. Always inform your doctor about any natural supplements or significant dietary changes, no matter how healthy they seem. Your medication dosages are carefully calculated based on your current diet and lifestyle, and even natural changes can require medical adjustments. Chapter 5. The innocent crunch that could break a senior's heart. Raw sprouts. There's something inherently appealing about sprouts. They look fresh, vibrant, and full of life. Alfalfa sprouts, bean sprouts, mung bean sprouts, and other varieties are often touted as superfoods, packed with enzymes, vitamins, and nutrients in their most bioavailable form. For health-conscious seniors looking to add more raw living foods to their diet, a handful of sprouts on a sandwich or salad seems like the perfect choice. Unfortunately, this innocent-looking food can harbor one of the most serious health risks in the produce section. The problem with sprouts lies in how they're grown. These tender vegetables require warm, humid conditions to germinate and develop, exactly the same environment where dangerous bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria thrive and multiply rapidly. Unlike other vegetables that grow in soil and can be thoroughly washed, sprouts are consumed whole, including the parts that may have been exposed to contaminated water or growing medium during their development. Even sprouts that look perfectly fresh and clean can carry millions of harmful bacteria. For younger adults with robust immune systems, foodborne illness from contaminated sprouts might mean a few unpleasant days of stomach upset and recovery. But for seniors, especially those over 60, the stakes are exponentially higher. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, becoming less efficient at fighting off infections. What starts as mild food poisoning can rapidly escalate into life-threatening complications like sepsis, severe dehydration, or dangerous infections that can affect the heart directly. One of the most serious complications I've seen from contaminated sprouts is endocarditis, an infection of the inner lining of the heart. This condition occurs when bacteria from a foodborne illness enter the bloodstream and attach to heart valves or damaged areas of the heart muscle. For seniors with existing heart conditions, artificial valves, or previous cardiac procedures, endocarditis can be fatal. Even when successfully treated, it often requires weeks of intravenous antibiotics and can cause permanent damage to the heart. I remember treating a 65-year-old woman who had been doing everything right to manage her heart condition after a mild heart attack 2 years prior. She exercised regularly, took her medications faithfully, and had embraced a diet rich in fresh vegetables and sprouts. After eating a salad with alfalfa sprouts from a reputable grocery store, she developed what seemed like a minor stomach bug. Within days, she was in intensive care with sepsis and an infection that had spread to her heart. Her recovery took months, and her heart function never fully returned to its previous level. The frustrating reality is that you can't tell by looking at sprouts whether they are contaminated. They may appear fresh, smell normal, and come from a trusted source, but still carry dangerous bacteria. Unlike other risky foods that might taste off or show obvious signs of spoilage, contaminated sprouts give no warning until it's too late. If you enjoy the crunch and fresh taste that sprouts provide, there are safer alternatives. Thinly sliced fresh vegetables like cucumbers, radishes, or young lettuce leaves can provide similar texture. If you must have sprouts, cooking them thoroughly in a stir-fry or soup will kill harmful bacteria while preserving much of their nutritional value. The brief cooking time needed to make them safe doesn't significantly reduce their health benefits, but it can prevent a potentially devastating illness. Chapter 6. What seniors should actually eat to truly protect their hearts. After learning about the vegetables that can harm your heart, you might be wondering what's left to eat. The good news is that there are countless delicious, heart-healthy vegetables that become even more beneficial for seniors when prepared properly. The key is understanding that your nutritional needs at 60 and beyond are different from what they were in your younger years, and your food choices should reflect your body's current needs, not outdated dietary advice. The most important principle for heart-healthy eating after 60 is consistency and gentleness. Your aging digestive system and cardiovascular system both benefit from foods that are easy to process, rich in nutrients, and free from the extreme compounds or bacterial risks we've discussed. Steamed broccoli becomes a powerhouse of antioxidants and fiber without the harsh edges of raw cruciferous vegetables. When you gently steam broccoli, you break down the tough fibers that can be difficult for aging digestive systems to handle, while preserving the vitamins and compounds that actively protect your arteries and reduce inflammation. Roasted root vegetables like carrots, sweet potatoes, and parsnips offer natural sweetness and complex carbohydrates that help stabilize blood sugar, crucial for seniors managing diabetes or prediabetes alongside heart conditions. The roasting process concentrates their flavors and makes their nutrients more bioavailable, while the natural sugars provide steady energy without the spikes and crashes that can stress your cardiovascular system. These vegetables are also rich in potassium, which helps counteract the effects of sodium and supports healthy blood pressure. Leafy greens remain important, but the preparation makes all the difference. Sauteed kale, collard greens, or spinach, in moderation if you're on blood thinners, cooked with a small amount of olive oil, become tender, flavorful, and much easier for your body to digest and absorb. The cooking process also eliminates any potential bacterial contamination while preserving most of the vitamins and minerals that support heart health. When you cook greens, you're also able to eat larger portions more comfortably, getting more nutrition in each serving. Cooked tomatoes deserve special mention because they're actually more nutritious than raw ones for heart health. The cooking process increases the bioavailability of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that specifically protects against cardiovascular disease. A simple sauce made from cooked tomatoes, herbs, and a touch of olive oil provides more heart protective compounds than raw tomatoes, while being gentler on your digestive system and free from the potential risks of raw produce. Legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and beans are exceptional choices for senior heart health. They're rich in fiber, which helps lower cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar, and they provide plant-based protein that doesn't stress your cardiovascular system the way processed meats can. When cooked until tender, they're easy to digest and can be flavored with heart-healthy herbs and spices to create satisfying, nutritious meals. The beauty of this approach to eating is that it's not about deprivation, it's about optimization. These foods can be prepared in countless delicious ways using herbs like rosemary, thyme, and oregano, which add complex flavors without any cardiovascular stress. A drizzle of good olive oil, a squeeze of fresh lemon, or a sprinkle of nutritional yeast can transform simple vegetables into meals that satisfy both your taste buds and your heart's needs. Chapter 7. Your heart still has time. A message of hope and action. Your heart has been your most faithful companion, beating faithfully for you over 2 billion times by the time you reach 60, never asking for anything in return except the fuel and oxygen you provide through your daily choices. Now, perhaps for the first time, your heart is asking for your conscious attention and care. This isn't a message of limitation or fear, it's a message of empowerment and hope, because every single day you have the opportunity to make choices that can strengthen and protect the heart that has served you so well. The changes your body undergoes after 60 aren't a sign of failure or inevitable decline. They're simply your body's way of telling you that it needs different support now than it did in your younger years. The vegetables that helped you thrive at 40 might need to be prepared differently or consumed in different amounts at 60. The medications that protect you from serious cardiac events need to work in harmony with your food choices, not against them. Understanding these changes isn't about accepting defeat. It's about gaining the wisdom to make choices that can add years to your life and life to your years. I've witnessed remarkable transformations in my practice when seniors embrace these principles. Patients who came to me exhausted, short of breath, and discouraged have returned months later with stronger pulses, clearer thinking, and renewed energy, not because they underwent dramatic medical procedures, but because they made consistent, informed choices about what they ate and how they lived. They learned to listen to their bodies, to understand their medications, and to prepare foods in ways that supported rather than challenged their aging systems. The most inspiring part of my work is seeing how small, sustainable changes compound over time. A patient who switches from raw garlic to cooked garlic, who chooses steamed vegetables over raw ones, who reads labels and makes informed choices about sodium, often sees improvements not just in their heart function, but in their overall energy, mental clarity, and quality of life. These aren't dramatic overnight transformations. They're gentle, sustainable improvements that build on each other to create meaningful change. Your heart's history doesn't determine its future. Yes, you may have experienced heart problems, high blood pressure, or other cardiovascular challenges. Yes, you may be taking medications that require careful attention to your diet. But every day is a new opportunity to nourish and protect your heart with choices that work with your body's current needs, not against them. The damage from years of unknowingly eating foods that challenged your heart isn't necessarily permanent. Your cardiovascular system has a remarkable ability to heal and improve when given the right support. Conclusion: taking action today for a stronger tomorrow. The knowledge you've gained today is only powerful if you act on it. Start with one simple change, perhaps switching from raw sprouts to cooked vegetables, or replacing pickles with fresh cucumber slices seasoned with herbs. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Instead, make one heart-friendly substitution and give your body time to adjust and respond. Communication with your healthcare provider is crucial. Share this information with your doctor, especially if you're taking heart medications. Discuss your current diet, any supplements you're taking, and any symptoms you may have experienced that could be related to food-medication interactions. Your doctor can help you navigate these changes safely and may need to adjust your medications as you optimize your diet. Remember that eating for heart health after 60 doesn't mean eating boring food. With the right herbs, spices, and preparation methods, heart-healthy foods can be just as delicious and satisfying as any meal you've ever enjoyed. The goal is to create a way of eating that you can maintain long-term, that brings you joy, and that supports your heart's health for years to come. Your heart has time. Your heart has strength. Your heart has love to give, to you, to your family, and to the life you've worked so hard to build. Every choice you make from this moment forward is an investment in that future, a gift to the heart that has never stopped believing in you. Start today, start small, but start with the confidence that you now have the knowledge to make choices that can truly transform your heart health and your life.